This is Empire Sports Alliance, Unfiltered. No fluff, no filters, just the real side of sports. We're talking athletes, coaches, agents, doctors, executives, the people behind the scenes who actually move the needle. From building careers to surviving the grind to winning off the field. This is where real conversations collide.
Welcome to another episode of Empire Sports Alliance Unfiltered. I'm Ronnie. I'm the wealth guy. My co-host Eric.
Hey everyone, I'm Eric, Sports Concierge Service, and today I'm happy to introduce Jamison. We actually went to college together, so she's a U of A Wildcat like I am, but Jamison, being female, is very good at multitasking, and she actually is a realtor and started working with a number of NBA players to the point where they were so pleased with her negotiation skills and communication and all that, that they said, hey, we want you to manage us. So, Jamison, welcome. I'm going to kind of let you give us a little bit about your background and how you fell into this niche.
So I have been a realtor for 22 years. Literally fell into that. That was never it's not what I went to college for, but it's worked out. It's been good. And through that, I carved out a niche where I relocate and handle real estate portfolios for professional athletes. And as you mentioned, through that time, between the trust factor, getting to know the families, everything else, it's led to more to where I now manage.
Nice. So, walk us through it. What is managing a player work with? Where do you come in? Where does the agent come in? Where does a financial guy come in? All that kind of stuff.
So as you can imagine at that level, they have a team of people, right? I would say the manager, similar to, but not at all like an assistant, is kind of the coach of the field, let's say, and puts all their things into place and just oversees things. And I mean, it could be anything from what kind of toilet paper they should buy to, is a marketing deal good? Is this person safe to have in our circle? Do we have the proper MBAs in place? Things of that sort.
So from a start in the industry, again, as you mentioned, you have a realtor background, right? So in terms of what was kind of I don't know if big break is where it's okay, you've worked with these athletes from the perspective of real estate, but then what was the kind of the first client? When did it make click and how did that come about? And how did it happen? From saying, hey, we also want you to represent us, basically.
So it's been a rocky career with some of the people in the industry, to be honest. And some of us have some things in common with a past financial guy and stuff like that. And like I said, I think it basically came down to a trust factor. There's not many people that these guys can trust in their circle. Even the people that they think are their closest friends, sometimes they can't really. So they really look to somebody that they can count on, that they can trust to bounce things off of, make the right decisions, help them through their life. And once you kind of can establish that and be authentic in it, I think it just goes from there.
And you're not just talking from a financial perspective. Again, obviously, from a consulting, with
I'm
other
not, yeah,
stuff coming up, introducing the other right, partner, which again, I think you're right. It's a very close circle.
yeah. I don't handle their finances at all.
Okay.
So they have an agent. So a sports agent is licensed as an agent. They go through their own schooling and licensing, and they are who they hire to actual do the negotiations with
Yep.
the teams and work all that stuff out. That's an agent.
Yeah.
They have a financial advisor. The financial advisor, kind of self-explanatory, advises their finances, invests all the ins and
Certainly.
outs into that. A lot of them have a personal assistant. That's somebody that kind of does their day-to-day at their house, maybe, or I don't know, helps with their kids or grocery shopping or whatever. A manager is the kind of, like I explained before, it's the nucleus, right? So I'm like their right-hand person that they can trust. And that kind of keeps an eye on everyone in the circle and make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing and that things are on the up and up and honest and going well and ask the right questions, creates, anything they need. I need a car. I need a masseuse. I need a PT. I need a financial person. I need
Yeah.
this. I'm kind of the headhunter. I'll go out and find those people. I put the team together, so to speak.
Oh, you mentioned again the negotiation of player contract, et cetera. Obviously, as you would say, you act more of a bit as a business manager. You would bring in the agent, let's say, or introduce the agent or vice versa, let's say. So the negotiation and the player contracts, is that something you get involved in at all? Meaning, I understand they connect, they do the negotiation, but are you involved in the process? You're sitting in the meetings, or how does that work? How does one have to?
It just depends. Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. Obviously, I'm privy to the information. I don't
Sure.
sit in on meetings with the team. I don't sit in on the meetings with, player negotiations. But, a contract might come across my desk like, what do you think of this? Is anything missing? Stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not a part of the agent at all.
So if they want to invest in something or someone wants to endorse them, are they going to you initially and saying, hey, is this a good idea? And then they take it to the agent to finalize? Or do you handle more of that?
So it depends, right? So a lot of the agencies and a lot of agents have marketing people. And so they'll put marketing deals in place for the players. And again, I might oversee what that looks like or review something. So that's one side of it. I can go put things in place. I answer the emails. I will do I handle their nonprofit organizations, putting on events, making sure we have endorsements, making sure insurances are in place, or finding the companies that can do that, right? Depending on the levity of the situation.
And how'd you fall into the basketball world?
I don't even really know. I guess I guess through real estate. So, my sons play basketball and football. I mean, I have sports sons and I met a basketball coach and he was a financial advisor and he had worked with a lot of players. So he asked me if I could help him find a summer home for a player. And I said, sure. I mean, I don't know why not. And I did that. And in doing that, I realized it's so much more than that, right? Like these guys don't handle anything. So it's not just finding a summer home, it's either making sure it's furnished or furnishing it. It's making sure they have all the supplies, down to do you know what favorite water they want to drink? Stacking the refrigerator. Do they have their water? Do they have their sports drinks? Do they have their favorite snacks? Does everybody in their team know where they need to be? Does the chef know the address? Does the cleaning people know the address? It's just a huge coordination. And then once they get there, well, they need their car. So are you going to ship their car for them? Are you going to get them a car here? What are you going to do? Where's it going to be? And so I just started putting all those things in place. And then once I had this network of, yeah, I can get you a car. Oh, yeah, I can get you insurance. Oh, yeah, I can get you this or that. It just kind of grew from there. So, and then in that, that's just doing summer deals when off season deals. But then it turned into hey, my player, or hey, I from the player directly, I'm on a plane right now. I just got traded. You know what I mean? Like when you look at the Trey Young trade, right? That happened mid game and he's out of there. Like you're out. And so what happens to their home that they're either buying or renting? I should say that they own or that they're renting. What happens to their wife? What happens to their dogs, to their kids, to their, are we finding good areas with good? So it just, you start to build a relationship then with maybe the significant others or other people in the family. And so it kind of goes from there.
So are you licensed in all states, real estate wise, or do you kind of take the lead and find people in whatever state it is?
Yeah. So I've toyed with the idea for a long time of getting licensed in other states, and I still may at some point if I can find some free time. The best bet for me has been so I vet agents in other states, and I've been in almost every state that there's a professional team. So, some more than others because there's kind of hot spots that players like to be. But so what I've done is I've just vetted agents that are licensed in all states, and I kind of made a team. And so it's a phone call, and then I handle all the direct communications and deals with the players and with their agents or their attorneys or their families, whoever it may be, their managers, because I'm not all, they have their own managers and whatnot. And then the agent is literally just the boots on the ground, and they'll like maybe write up the contracts per that
What are
state's.
the top 5 teams that you see based on your experience that players wanna play if you had
The
to name
players
5?
want to play for.
Or be in that area, so let's put it that way. Big difference, I'm assuming, huh? Like, they wanna be in the area, they don't necessarily wanna play for the team?
Yeah, I've never heard. I mean, I've never really gotten a specific team that a player wants to play for, right?
Right.
I mean, they want to play obviously where they're going to get paid, where there's,
Mhm.
but also, important for them is, are they going to play? Are they going to shine as a player? Are they going
Yeah,
to be the sixth man? Like, what is the game plan for their overall career? So I
yeah.
haven't gotten a specific team. I know there's some cities that guys are like the most fun cities to live in, but they
Anything
do all.
particular or that you can mention or
I am not mentioning any cities that anybody doesn't want to be in. No, sir. No, sir.
well, I just I know from yeah. I hear you. No, I just know, I work with a few hockey players and all that stuff. So from a perspective of Florida's obviously been and they have benefited from that greatly, but there's no state income tax there, right? So that, to a certain extent can that can add into the situation. And, I mean, first of all, great weather and all that stuff, great team, but getting paid and not having to pay taxes is not a bad gig either. So plays into it.
Well,
So
mind you, where they play is 9 out of 10 times not where they buy.
right.
So they either buy in their original hometown, right? And that's where they'll go. Or they buy, I mean, unless they're playing somewhere great and they decide that's where they want but usually they rent where they're playing because it's only, 9 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year. And then they are transient for the summer. And then the ones that do buy usually buy like either where they're from or someplace that they've always wanted to live or something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, Florida's good, no tax. Nevada's good, no tax. Texas is
Yeah.
good, no tax. I think those are the 3 hot hitters. Hot cities, LA. Let's say off-season hot cities. LA, Miami, Dallas is coming up, Scottsdale's coming up. Seems to be the kinda like the hot spots that you hear guys going.
Where do you rank New York? What do you see there, just in general?
It's interesting. I don't have a lot of feedback on New York. I've done deals in New York.
Yeah, yeah.
I've done deals for someone that plays for the Nets and the Knicks, so both sides of it. I've never had a guy that wants to be there in the off season.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah. I don't have a lot of requests for New York unless they're playing there.
Yeah, got it. That makes sense. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
an expensive place to live too, and during the summertime, unless you wanna go enjoy Long Island.
And plus, football's whatever. So it's like you got nothing to root for football wise.
Well, that's not
Yeah.
played during the summertime, yeah. Well, yeah, there's still a bunch of championships being won there, Eric. Yeah. Good enough to support 2 teams, I guess, How
Yeah.
many does Green Bay have?
And do not ask my favorite team because you're not getting that out of me either. Because I can't say that either.
Well, no, yes. Yeah, no, I mean, again, I normally on my end, I could say, like, I have a favorite team, but that doesn't business and having a favorite team are 2 different things. So, being a Jets fan, I have no problem working with a player that's on the Patriots. Now, again, on
Yeah, yeah,
Sunday,
yeah.
I might not necessarily cheer, for the team that they're supporting. Yeah,
Well, I am
in
a
the game.
Rams fan.
Oh,
I mean,
okay, there you go.
if you wanna talk about that, I am a
Yeah,
Rams forever,
good.
except
All
when
right.
they left California. But actually, the Rams are playing the 49ers in Australia, and that might be a fun thing to go to, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe
Opening
there's a
game?
real estate deal to be
In
had out there.
Australia? Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wow.
these 49ers in Australia. First
yep,
opening game of the season.
yep,
That would be
it is.
fun. Might
That's
have to
That'd
why
be a
do.
good one.
the amount of miles being traveled, I think the 49ers and the Rams are both on top, and I think a lot of it has to do with that first deal. So,
Did you see that? Yeah,
yeah.
the 49ers are really taking it. Too bad,
Mhm.
but,
Yeah.
um, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
No, but you bring up a good point. Look, I've helped you with a number of your athletes to take care of them either in the off season or during the season and stuff. And you work with these guys and you're rooting for them. It may not be your favorite team or something, but you want
Right.
your guys to do well.
Yeah.
And, I had guys on multiple NFL and MLB teams, and it's like, yeah, I'm rooting for this guy, but the team, whatever, you know.
Right.
Is is there one you mentioned trust initially, and I couldn't agree more with you in terms of because we're both, we're in a professional services environment, right? So
Mhm.
I think trust and reputation is everything. So from
Mhm.
that perspective, is there a, really like a time that sticks out where you kind of like learned the most important lesson around that in terms of like the trust in business where you maybe have a negative experience and it's just kind of like, hey, this is something to learn from and should never be repeated again. Is there anything in particular that comes to mind?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm not asking for names. I'm asking in terms of like, maybe
I
describe a
think I
situation.
know what you're thinking also.
Yeah. So there is. And it's really yeah. I'm just gonna say yeah,
Mhm.
and it was big and it
Yeah.
major headline news, bad. Yeah. And I realized that, what's really sad, these guys, we all envision that they're living the life, right? They have the ultimate dream. They made it to the top. They went pro. They're 1% of the world. You know what I mean? And that's all in there making hundreds of millions of dollars and you're like,
Mm.
"Whoa." All the monetary sexy fluff of it is pretty outstanding, right? But I think that as day-to-day people, we lose sight that they are still people, and they are somebody's son, and they are somebody's brother or husband or dad, or for the women too, someone's sister, daughter. They're treated like a commodity, People this industry really loses sight of that and loses sight that you're dealing with human beings, phenomenal human beings, elite human beings, but they're still human beings. And so I guess through that, I kind of not I kind of, I mean, my plight became so in addition to being a manager, I have fostered in my own home several young student athletes, be it their families couldn't take care of them and take them on the path, be it they got recruited to play high school ball out here, and when the season was done, they were like, "Okay, thanks, bye," and they were like, "Wait, but all our friends and we have to finish our school year," and so they lived with me and, you know,
Yeah.
be it kids that came out to play for prep schools and their parents didn't feel safe for them living in the dorm, so they lived with me, but I have a lot of kids. My nickname in this world is Mama J. One thing that I teach them all and I can leave them all with, because the truth is, in some cases, we're culturally different, or maybe religiously different, or maybe even morally different, right? But at the end of the day, the one thing that I try to teach them, and I'm going to refer to the boys because I've had more boys than girls. I've only had one girl, both physically and surrogate wise. Um, so I'm going to refer to the boys is that they spend their whole lives as athletes. They're either and their parents lie on their birth certificates so they can play up. They get held back in school so they can
Mhm.
be on the higher age level and the higher growth level of their school year. They get their whole life is modified around being a player, be it baseball, football. I'm sure it goes on. I'm mostly profound in baseball. I mean, excuse me, football and basketball, but I can assume it goes across the board, right?
No
But
question.
so from the time these kids, I mean, from the time they start dribbling a ball or from the time they catch their first football, it's like, they don't go to their neighborhood school. They don't play with their friends. It's work and this and that. And for a lot of them, it's the way they're going to see their way out of where they are, right? And nobody develops these kids as who they really are as an individual. You're just Johnny, the basketball player.
Mhm.
And When you're benched too long, you switch teams. And when you don't perform, they get rid of you. And now introducing the NIL, it's like the
I
wild,
was just
wild
going to
west.
ask you. Yeah.
So this goes on. They're commodities from the time they're this big, whether they are within their own family or whether they are with the coaches or the AAU team or whatever. And what I tell them all is like, this journey is going to end at some point. It's either going to end, you're not going to make your high school team, or you're not going to make your college team, or maybe you do go all the way to the pros, but you got to retire at some point, right?
Yeah.
And we
That's
retire.
inevitable.
It's inevitable. And we retire at 65, 70, 75. I mean, I can do what I do till from my grave, probably, right? But they're done outside of the LeBrons of the world, but they're done by 30, right? We're just getting started and they're finishing up. And so then what happens? Well, this is why you see situations where like they don't know who they are as a human being. The lights go out and they have no inners.
I think you're bringing up a couple of 2 points that I always make. So, again, from a wealth management perspective, I work with athletes, but I also work with business owners. Those are really the 2 areas. And I always talk when I talk, because athletes to me are business owners as well. They are the business. Often enough, they might not realize that. But there's really 2 aspects that I see, I think, which you just touched on. They have to make decisions at a very young age and, with very little to none life experience. And as you mentioned in the initial conversation when we started, they might be surrounded by people that don't necessarily have their best interest at heart, right? So again, inexperienced decision making early. The other thing is the compressed timeline they have as a business, from a branding, endorsement, etc. There's not everybody's a Michael Jordan that can still, get marketing dollars these days, right? From an advertisement perspective. So they have a very compressed timeline. Yeah, we all can do this till we're 65 and plus, right? To your point, what you're done at 30, you have another 30 years in the workforce. What are you going to do? How are you going to plan? So I think that is, again, it goes into what you're saying in terms of like having a close, environment with like trusted partners, core partners, probably not too few, but with the whole NIL that you just brought up as well, how do you handle that? The complexity of it and the constant like surrounding, especially with social media, these young athletes. What do you see? Is there any particular way, any good advice that you could, share?
You know what? I still think it's still too green of an area to even really give advice because, like I said, it's right now, it's kind of shooting your way through the wild, wild west. Like,
It's the wild,
I
wild west.
mean, you see college teams that have no roster. They're stacked one year and now they're stuck without a roster because the whole roster has gone into the portal. And and now they're starting to make money in high school.
Oh, yeah.
So you got kids transferring high school. And that's what I mean. Like when I say all of that, the foundation, right? It's so important for them to have a foundation of who they are as a human, as a person, because otherwise this sports world, this will swallow you whole. And we've seen it with a few guys, right? And so many of them battle mental health and us as the normal, like, I don't know, regular people
Yeah.
are like, what are you depressed about? Right? Like you gotta stall.
Well, I have to deal with it from a
That's not easy.
psychological
I
perspective.
dealing with Eric that
Yeah, I
could drive.
mean, it's this since college, so we understand. Sorry.
But so all in all, I think go full circle back to your trust thing. Who can you trust and who can't you?
Yeah.
And
It's really that
unfortunately,
simple,
there's
isn't it?
people, unfortunately, there's people in your position that they can't trust. And there's doctors
Yes.
that they cannot trust, that will do what they want to do for them for their own.
Actually, on that point, from a doctor's perspective, Eric, have you seen this in terms of like with your experience in your practice from a health perspective that there's literally people in the medical field that these guys can't trust? Have you seen an example?
Well, look, there are always guys with a hidden agenda, for example, and they may be trying to push a piece of equipment or a procedure because they have financial ties to it, but it's not necessarily what the athlete needs at that time. So yeah, you're going to have that. There are guys who say there could be a physiotherapist or something, and in reality, Yeah, maybe they're just a massage therapist who went and learned a couple other things online and they say they could do all this stuff, but they don't have the core experience, knowledge. And part of it is not, can you do it? It's, should you do it? Is this what's best for that player at that time and everything? And it's being able to leave the ego and say, you know what? I can't help you with this. I think you need to see this person or go get this machine. I'm treating a pro baseball player right now with a labrum tear, and there's another technology that I don't have. So I took him to another office so he could get treated with it because I know that's going to help him. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to help him, even if I'm not personally doing it, though.
Right.
But
But I mean, that's the right thing to do. That should come full circle, right? Eventually, if you look
yeah,
out,
but how many financial guys are going to recommend a different stock or this or that because they're going to benefit from it and get a patient, a player to put in way too much money and then now what?
Yeah.
So I did want to ask you a question though. You made a comment like you gotta stock the fridge and you gotta do this and you gotta do that. What is the craziest request that you have had to do or have heard about for a player?
I mean,
yeah,
I've cleaned some messes.
What?
I've cleaned up some messes,
Yeah.
but most of them are big kids. So if we're talking about stocking their stuff, most of them are big kids. They like they have their favorite chips or their favorite candies or their favorite,
clean up
color
messes.
Yeah.
You guys remember that show, Ray Donovan? What was it? Is that you, like the fixer coming in? That
Yeah. I'm the
okay.
cleaner. I'm the cleaner.
Cleaning. Okay, cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm the cleaner. So, but yeah, there's been some,
it can get wild. You're saying
there's
in
some
different
wild
ways.
stories. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
All right.
What's your highest highlight?
Highest highlight. Huh. Wow. I would say with players or with real estate, like what, like I would say my highlight, huh?
Both.
Both. I would say well, obviously life wise, my biggest pride and joy is my 3 kids, right? But that goes without saying. So
Of course.
no, no, that goes without saying. But outside of that, my other pride and joy is one of my players and his wife. And I was there from his draft day all the way to where he is now. And even though he's still a young man, watching his growth and watching his development, not just on the court, but as a human and a business person and now a husband and all of those things is probably my biggest highlight because it's really remarkable how the growth he's had since day one. Yeah. So he's probably my highlight.
Yeah, it's
But I've had
fun
a
to
lot of
watch
fun.
grow from the beginning and you see
Yeah.
the journey.
You see their journey and it's a journey. It's quite a journey. So that's been good.
It is.
So from a perspective in terms of like, when players are, looking for an agent, what are there particular questions, are there particular things they should be looking out for, questions they should be asking just to make sure that from the very beginning they're covered or they're, working with the right person? I guess warning signs, in particular, questions they should ask, be that a business manager, be that an agent, advisor, whatnot.
In choosing an agent,
Agent,
I think
yeah, let's
I
go with agent.
down to the player and kind of multifaceted of like where they are in their career, who they are, you know, marketability. Not every player is marketable, right? They can be
Yeah.
phenomenal, but they're not necessarily marketable. All those things. So there's sometimes a player's best going with a bigger agency, a big name agency, and really resourcing into their marketing and all of that stuff. And then there's other times that players are better with more of a boutique niche agent that can really focus on them and their career individually. Some are cut
Yeah.
out to be the small fish in the big pond, and some just really need to be one of the few fish in the pond. So that's mostly what I would say. Other than that, I mean, like anything, there's word of mouth. There's, the fees are pretty standard, I would say. They might fluctuate a little bit, but they're pretty standard. The contracts are pretty standard.
That
You
makes
want
sense.
an agent that has a good reputation with the teams because at the end of the day, that's who they're talking to. So somebody that gets along with the back office or front office, whichever way you want to see it,
Yeah.
that's all important.
Do a lot of these guys switch agencies or not too much?
A lot,
Yeah.
a lot.
Just
Do you see
because
that?
they're getting screwed at the end of the day or not getting any attention?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to sometimes they don't feel like they're getting the individual attention that they were promised because, right, they might be with an agent that has a ton of top players, right? And suddenly you're like the guy in the back of the class, and not intentionally, but just kind of that's the attention has to
Yeah.
go where the work's going. So sometimes it's that, it's a sharky business. So people are always in their ear, people are always promising things, this and that. So I've seen for a lot of different reasons, but they do switch.
Have you seen him switch? But, sometimes it's the same thing on the financial side of things. I see them switch for, whereas I think they would be better off just staying where they're at sometimes. Yeah, because again, some people, get motivated by money or some type of incentive from a financial perspective, but
100% people get
they
motivated.
might be better off, sticking with what they have. Right?
People get motivated by that. People get motivated by, false promises.
Yes.
Sometimes they'll get to the families and offer the family something. So then the family gets in the player's ear, like, go over here because there's a back house incentive for them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yes.
we interviewed an NFL player.
Mhm.
He quit the Browns and he's like, yeah, as soon as I signed that contract, I was hearing from people from high school asking for money and wanting to get involved in this business deal and that business deal. And the amount of chatter in the ears, I mean, it's the same for no matter what sport you're in, but do they pass some of that on to you and say, hey, can you nicely tell this person no? Or,
Yeah, I mean, depending who it is, but yes, it gets passed on to me. I've told people so people will approach them all the time, like, hey, you want to invest in my I don't know. I'm inventing a barber shop and a horse trailer. Like, I don't know. They come up with like the craziest stuff and they're like, you want to invest, whatever. And so yeah, I vet those. I'll talk to them like, so what's really going on? And, you know, 9 out of 10 times, there's no business plan tied to it. It's like, well, how much money do you need?
That's never a good answer.
Well, we have this really good idea. So, yes, constantly people are asking for money. I knew him when we were in college, or, oh, he lived 3 doors down from me and we were the best of friends. And I'm like, okay, all right. So, there's a lot of that, a lot.
Well, Eric, do you want to take us home with your walk-off 10?
all right, let me pull this up.
So, what am I answering? True or false?
It's either
Very deep questions.
it's true, false, one word answers. So here's an easy one. True or false? NBA players text back slower than celebrities.
NBA players? True.
Okay. True or false? You've ever looked or taken a contract call during dinner?
True.
Way too many times?
Who eats dinner?
There you go. Lunch is for wimps. So is dinner.
What,
Okay. Hey, come on.
All right. Hardest part of free agency.
Hardest part of free agency? For who?
You.
For me, probably I would say navigating the sharks in the water.
All right. True or false? Players care about social media comments more than they admit.
100% true.
All right. One word, your go-to stress snack during the trade season.
My go-to stress snack?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Gummy bears.
All right.
I love those.
I'm a gummy bear girl.
True or false? You've had to calm down a player at 2 a.m.
Very true.
All
Several
right.
times.
One word answer. Biggest negotiation skill. Patience, confidence, or silence.
It has to be one of those. I'm going to say confidence in your patience and silence.
All
How
right.
would you rank them if you had to? If you gave them 1, 2, 3? I'm probably depends on the situation, but I'm just thinking.
It depends on the situation. I'm going to say a good negotiator is obviously confident because you're not afraid to lose, right? Can't be afraid to lose. Silence speaks volumes. Never make the first move, right? So let them do the talking. You just listen because you can figure out a lot more about the poker hand across from you if you listen. And what was the last one? Patience. I mean, I guess you have to have patience. I mean, waiting for the deal to get done, I guess. But yeah. But I would say confidence. Confidence in that you're gonna you got this. Yeah.
But I mean, again, the patience thing, sorry, just to hone in on that. Sometimes patience in negotiation might also be like, hey, you stand up, we're done here, right? In terms of like, you just got to throw a line in the sand, I guess.
100%. And sometimes when you do that, that's not even your line in the sand, right? So how many times you have to call somebody's bluff? Like, all right, we're out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're like, but that's where the confidence comes in. Like, are you confident that if we say you're out and they say, okay, great, are you confident with walking away from that? Because the hope is that you say we're out and they're like, wait. But
yeah, you're not afraid to lose though either, as you mentioned, right? So that comes with the territory, I guess. But
yeah.
All right.
sorry, Eric, I'm interrupting you. I'm dragging it out. My
So
bad.
much for one word. So much for one.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Here's another one word one. Favorite word to hear from a GM.
Yes.
True or false? Huh?
Signed here.
Sign here. Yeah. True or false? You secretly enjoy the chaos of trade deadlines.
True.
It's not
I
even
love
a
it.
secret, probably.
All right. One word. Dynasty, loyalty, or money.
Loyalty.
Wow, look, you are very loyal. And, the cool thing about you, I see you put your heart in it and you truly care. It's not, hey, this isn't a business where you're collecting a paycheck. You love what you do, you love helping them, you love giving back. And that's what makes you so special and why you are successful. So, I mean,
Thank you for
of
recognizing
course, congrats. I mean, yeah, it's cool watching you.
that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, very much appreciate the time,
For
Mama
sure.
J. Yeah, appreciate
Mama
it. Thank
J. Yeah. Mama J. That's right.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Well, thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
Thank
I'll go
you.
show off the camera.
All right.
Just kidding. Bye.